Hello, magicians. Hello, friends. In this video, I'd like to make a recommendation for my students and my friends. This book is by S.H. Sharp, and it's called Conjurers, Psychological Secrets. And this is an incredible book. I've been studying as I'm working on my new magic show. It's a 178-page book. There's not one trick in it. You might say, well, why would that be useful? There's enough magic. There's enough magic effects, routines, etc. You need to structure. If you want to have strong magic, guess what? You need to work at it, but you need to work on the psychological aspects, the structure, and we'll get into in other videos. I'm going to break down everything. What this is we're going to do an overview of the book and what the book is about. If it's about magic, but there's not one trick in it. What do I mean by that? Well, it's a theory book. Now, theory books were never really popular until S.H. Sharp came out with Neo-Magic Artistry, and it sat on the shelf for half a century, and then it got discovered by some of the best magicians that started innovating many years ago. And the last couple of centuries, particularly in the last 20 years, there's been some big pivots and big paradigm shifts in the art of magic. And what I'm going to talk about in here is my opinion of this book. I give this a 10. I'll give it a 5-star review, and out of 10, I'll give it an 11 even. Why is because S.H. Sharp is a magical genius, and he was not really a famous magician by any means, but what he was he translated many things. He translated Hofstadter, one of the first Hofstadter books. I could get into. We're not really going to talk about him as much as his work in this book. So basically, what we're going to talk about is a breakdown of the book. I'm not going to go into everything. We'd have to make tons of videos, but so here's an overview of the 4 aspects of the book. Okay, the first is objective illusions. Okay, and what are those? We have the senses. We have visual illusions, auditory illusions, and anytime you take the senses and you enhance them, that's how you enhance the conviction of the magic. And we're talking about white magic, not black magic and sorcery right now, right? We're going to talk about the second aspect of the psychological principles tabulated is the subjective, okay, which is the psychological aspects, the illusion of time, which I'm actually working with. There's a great scripting and pattern ideas in here. We call it scripting here, right? I'll make another video about that. Illusions of state. Through assertions, subconscious impressions. This has to do with like the two perfect theory, if you've ever heard of that, by Rick Johnson, which was back in like the late 70s. You can do your research on that. It's been pretty popular in magic magazines over the years. Aspect number 3 is influenced by suggestion. The power of suggestion would be like mentalism, equivocate, forcing. There's aspects of misdirection, which is there's active and passive misdirection in here. I mean, there's a lot of other books like the FISM books. We recommend Magic by Misdirection. But when you start to blend those books, what happens is you take your thing to not only the next level, what we're talking about, multiplicity of compound level of magic. Now, the final one is character assessing and forming your character, which is what I'm actually working on now. There's also codes and cues if you do a partner mentalism act and such, but I just want to go to one part of the book right now, which I'm studying very deeply, and so I can give you an insight into how I create my magic. So this is in page 33, and it's called "The Emotional Secrets of Showmanship and Stagecraft." And I'm not going to sit here and read the whole thing, but I'm going to go over a few aspects so that you can work on this in your own work. He talks about dramatic techniques in here. Okay. Again, this is called Conjurers, Psychological Secrets by S.H. Sharp. I highly recommend this book. So on page 34, he talks about dramatic techniques. He talks about uh, mystery. He's talking about basically putting together the plot. And basically you have the effect, the method, and the presentation. Those are like the 3 pillars of the art, right? But what this does is how do you make it more dramatic, right? So the way you're going to do that, he says, does your presentation make people really feel like, isn't this wonderful, and not like very clever, like, ha, I fooled you type. That's what he's talking about. Is if you've read any of Jeff McBride's books or other, like Eugene Berger, is literal demonstration versus symbolic demonstration. And we want to do, as master magicians, we want to do symbolic uh, magic, not literal demonstration, right? It's too boring. The next thing he talks about is progressive action. Okay, does each thing you do stronger than the last thing, and does it blend well, and does it flow well? The pacing, that's directly related to your pacing. Are you going too fast, or are you going too slow? Don't performing at them, performing for the audience. And that has to do with pause and suspenses. The use of pausing. We'll do a video on that, because you can just do like a pause for like 3 seconds, and you can, before you turn over a card, and you can, it's a difference in just, revealing the card quickly and getting the less reaction. Now, he talks about, you can talk about the climax of the effect. There's a lot of things that are anticlimactic. For example, the magician puts a woman in the box, puts a sword through the box, and then, oh, she's gone. Well, no wonder she didn't get hurt, because she was gone. That would be called an anticlimactic in the context of an illusion. I'm not so much into illusions, although I do have ideas with a lot of things. I'm primarily a close-up artist, and I also do some cabaret style. So the characterization, we can get into that. Pointing has to do with technical acting and where you stand, and where it has to do with like where your, not only your feet and your hands and your body, your posture, how you can highlight certain areas, and that's called pointing. And then we have focus of attention. Where's the focus of the attention? So we like to think of misdirection as there's active and passive misdirection, which I'm going to make a video on that. But after that, he goes into a great example, and he talks about Houdini and the water torture cell, and how he just built up this thing like it was the most impossible thing, because it was. And I mean, like, it has to do with like where everything is placed, and like the lighting, and like, I mean, just study this book. I highly recommend it. So there you go. I will make some more videos for you. But that is a recommendation for my students and my friends. So enjoy.